If you have been following the news today, you have likely heard about this. We're going to bring you all the context you need right now. You're looking at a live picture outside of the United States Supreme Court in Washington, D.C., where a majority of the justices this morning handed down a ruling that blocks the president's ability to unilaterally impose tariffs under an emergency powers law. That includes the president's so-called reciprocal tariffs that he had levied on nearly every other country in the world. His tariff agenda was a key part of the second term of the Trump presidency's economic plan, and this morning, a 6-3 majority of the justices striking down a key component of that. The court today found that the Constitution, quote, very clearly, end quote, gives Congress the power to impose taxes, and that includes tariffs. Chief Justice John Roberts, who wrote the majority opinion, went on to write, quote, the framers did not vest any part of the taxing power in the executive branch. In other words, the majority of the justices in the Supreme Court found that the Constitution gives Congress and not the executive branch, not the presidency, the ability to impose these particular types of tariffs. The president today delivered remarks just a short while ago in response to this ruling. Let's listen in to what he had to say in his first on-camera response to this ruling.
The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country. I'd like to thank and congratulate Justices Thomas, Alito, and Kavanaugh for their strength and wisdom and love of our country, which is right now very proud of those justices. When you read the dissenting opinions, there's no way that anyone can argue against them. There's no way. Foreign countries that have been ripping us off for years are ecstatic. They're so happy. And they're dancing in the streets, but they won't be dancing for long. That I can assure you.
The president went on to say in those remarks that he is going to sign an order today imposing a 10% global tariff under a different component of the federal code that he and his staff say allows him to move forward with that new imposition of a different type of tariff. It's under what's known as Section 122. Section 122 allows the president to temporarily institute a temporary import surcharge of up to 15% if he finds there are large and serious balance of payments deficits to prevent an imminent and significant depreciation of the U.S. dollar in foreign exchange markets. So a little bit of a technical component there. Section 122 requires more individualized investigation before the executive branch can impose those tariffs. The president also went on to say in those remarks that he will be not refunding companies that paid for the tariffs. This decision by the Supreme Court, a 6-3 majority with these six justices in the majority, Chief Justice John Roberts, Justices Neil Gorsuch, Amy Coney Barrett, Elena Kagan, Sonia Sotomayor, and Ketanji Brown Jackson, part of the 6-justice majority for this opinion. 3 justices, Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, and Brett Kavanaugh, all wrote in dissent. The president had been paying close attention to the likely release of this ruling today, and he indicated that in a number of comments over the last few days, including yesterday in these remarks to the press corps on Air Force One while he was on the way. Hang on one second here. This was in Rome? Okay. This is the president yesterday in Rome, Georgia. So he was on the ground at this point delivering these remarks ahead of the possible release of this morning's decision. This is what he had to say yesterday about his tariff agenda.
I got in trouble. No, I got in trouble with him because I said tariff is my favorite word in the whole dictionary. This, or what about family? What about God? What about wife, children? I said, all right, it's my 5th favorite word. Now I'm okay. They've treated me okay since I did that. They didn't like it but it's my 5th favorite word in the dictionary. You're back to producing at full speed, 2 shifts a day, and he's going to 3 shifts a day, 6 days a week. And you've got a backlog now that's 7 months long. What a difference. From a couple of hours a week to 7 months long. And it's all because you finally have a president who put America first. That's what it is. But it's also because I imposed powerful 50% tariffs on foreign steel where they were coming in and dumping crap all over our country. I ended every one of the Biden-era exemptions, and on August 18th, I added new tariffs to cover 400 derivative products, including steel racks, which is what you make. So I say congratulations, and what a great comeback. This is a comeback that 2 years ago, right, you were almost, I don't want to say out of business, but you're almost out of business. I guess he said you can say it. You were close. He was borderline. Started telling his wife, let's have tuna fish tonight, darling. Forget about the steak. But stories like this, companies are right now playing out in cities all around the country, towns, villages, all over the country. And to think I have to be in the United States Supreme Court for many, many months, waiting for a decision on tariffs. Without tariffs, this country would be in such trouble right now. Without tariffs, this country would be like your company was 2 years ago. What a difference it made.
That was President Donald Trump in Rome, Georgia, yesterday, delivering remarks during a visit to the northwest corner of our state that came just a few weeks ahead of a special election to fill the congressional district there, that election coming up on March 10th. The president making it clear he was paying close attention to the possible release of this opinion. Fast forward to today, the court released the opinion, and a 6-3 majority struck down President Trump's ability to unilaterally impose these tariffs under his emergency powers law. The court, again, in the opinion authored by the Chief Justice John Roberts, saying, quote, the framers did not vest any part of the taxing power in the executive branch, and instead finding that the Constitution grants Congress the ability to impose these tariffs. The president decrying the result and the outcome of this 6-3 decision this morning and those remarks we just brought you a little while ago from the White House. It remains to be seen exactly how the impact of this ruling, still just a few hours old, will play out. The president has indicated that he intends to move forward with his tariff regime under different legal authorities and frameworks. That said, the solicitor, I should say, the attorney who represented the plaintiffs in this case, said today that the opinion was a, quote, complete and total victory for the challengers who brought the suit, and went on to say it is a reaffirmation of our deepest constitutional values and the idea that Congress, not any one man, controls the power to tax the American people. That was Neil Katyal, the attorney for the group that brought the challenge to these tariffs. That's his perspective. You've heard the president's perspective, and you have heard the majority of the Supreme Court's perspective.